weather was never going to last. Before we get down over here. Supposedly Mycenaean. On the satellite image you can see that the whole hill is a settlement. Or a sanctuary perhaps. Something. Anyway. Clouds are coming in from the west and we need to get... And I want to get off this hill before the rain comes. So that the dirt track doesn't become a mud track. Which would not be a good way to start the day. There's a bakery about 5 minutes down there. That's where I'm headed. I'm glad I got everything packed up before the rain came. It's just gone 7 o'clock. Let's start the day. Yeah. I reckon she's right too. There's so much sand in there. We might be stuck here for a while. There are insane wind gusts. Like it's pretty windy out, but every now and then just a huge gust will come along and just send everything flying. So I guess I'm gonna wait here, maybe have another coffee and see if it dies down, because I can't ride in that. That's just way too dangerous. And there's a lot of sand and dust in the air as well. It's horrible. I'm glad I got off that mountain. Jesus, imagine if this had come up early morning. I'd be blown away. Ah, the road is closed because of this race event that's obviously still going on. Oh, not just racing apparently, like hard man stuff. Enduro stuff. Yeah, that looks pretty closed off up there too. Ah, they're running everywhere. How do we get to the fucking ruins? Alright, we'll try to go this way. Ah, it's closed as well. God damn it. Okay, I'm afraid I'm not going to be seeing Sparta today. Okay, let's make our way on to Argos. Anyway, it's probably no harm with this wind to get on the road. It's going to be a slow drive because it's pretty bad out here. It doesn't look like much, but every now and then there's an insane gust. That's the dangerous thing, are those gusts. The lady in the bakery wasn't too happy that I was going out in it. God love her. Alright. If we make it, see you in Argos. I just stopped at the side of the road because the landscape has suddenly changed completely. We're in the middle of a forest now. Gone are the olive trees and the sand. Now it's wet, green, and beautiful autumn colours. Just look at this. Look at the colours. Even in the grey light. It's gorgeous. okay. Okay. Her car looks fine, so it must be a personal thing. Welcome to Argos, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, the oldest in Europe, allegedly. Oh my god, there's an insane amount of dust and sand in the air. You can feel it between your teeth and in your throat. It's so windy. So windy. But it's hot. I changed my jacket because I was, expecting the rain when I was leaving Sparta. I was just overheating. This is the Agora, the commercial and social hub of any Greek town. But what I really want to see is that. The theatre. The great theatre of Argos. Let's go. Isn't it gorgeous? I hope you can hear me. It's so windy up here. I'm actually even a bit worried about the camera and the tripod. But this is the Theatre of Argos, built around the 4th century BC, but then restored by Hadrian in the 2nd century, the Emperor Hadrian, who was a bit of a Grecophile. Spent a lot of his time here in Greece, touring, being the tourist. I'm not sure how many people this could seat, but it's quite a big one, as you can see. So how Greek theatre would work is, here's the stage. And this is where let's say the main cast, the 2 or 3 main actors would perform. This circular area here is called the orchestra. This is where the chorus would perform. And then of course you have the theatron, the audience stands. I have a bit of a special place for theatres, Greek and Roman theatres, because so much of my life was spent preparing for the stage performance until COVID. But Greek theatre would either be a comedy or a tragedy or a satyr, which is like a very rude comic, satirical often play. And theatre wasn't just entertainment, it was religious too. The theatres would be dedicated to different gods, and the act of performing was a way of worshipping that god. Of course, theatre was also a means of political and social commentary, and it was really important as part of the social fabric of ancient Greek societies. In particular, the chorus. And in many ways, this is quite similar to opera and musicals today. The chorus would be, let's say, a dozen or more performers who would be singing, they'd be dancing, playing music, and they would be reacting to the drama that was unfolding here on the stage, in a way informing the audience of, what they should be thinking or how they should view the drama morally, ethically, and politically. That's no different from choruses in operas, of which I have a fair bit of experience, and particularly in musical theatre, where there's a lot more, dancing and spectacle. The chorus was probably the most enjoyable part of the actual show. Anyway, there's actually another theatre about 50 kilometers away in the direction I have to go anyway. So if we have enough time, these places close at 3. It's 20 to 1. We'll have enough time if we scoot, and if the wind is not too bad. Let's go. Do you want to hear me sing an aria? No, trust me, you don't want to hear that. It's been too long. You're like a little crocodile. Oh, you slither along there now. You're like me going down a gravel track. You're gorgeous, aren't you? I love your green, your cyan, and on your back. God, I've been on my own too long. I'm talking to lizards. Do you want to come with me? Do you want to come for a spin? Oh, no, you look lovely. You look gorgeous. Ah, I guess not. Okay. Let's get going. The amazing thing is that after 2,500 years, plays from this period, the classical Greek period, are still preserved in their entirety. I think well over a dozen, if not maybe 24. So we know what these people said. We have the lines. They're still performed to this day. The music is a different story. That's more of an approximation of how it might sound. But the words are there. And that's quite something. I don't know if it's the weather and the feeling that winter is finally come. And looking at all these theatres, it's just got me feeling, up you get, babes, very pensive and reflective. About transience, the change, the time, and my own life. I think I've been alone for too long. But I'm looking at all these stages and thinking that these stages no doubt have been graced by actors of the finest calibre, and I'm afraid they were only ever actors. Women weren't allowed to perform in classical Greece. But even by our standards, no doubt greats. Performances that were once in a lifetime occasions for the audience. And they're all just lost. They're all gone. Never recorded. Never to be marvelled at again. And it's just... all there is left is the stones, the ruined stages they performed on, and the words they spoke, which again is a marvel that we have those at all. Sometimes, when the energy is low or where times are tough, you start to question, was it all a mistake? Don't get me wrong, I loved performing. I still do. I love the idea of it anyway. I don't do it anymore. I love the stage. But what I loved more than any of that was writing my own music, my own poetry when I was a teenager. Creating whatever that is. That's what really always fulfilled me more than, the performance side. The attention was always nice, but you were never performing your own stuff. You were always ever interpreting. And I suppose in a way I'm still performing. This is a performance. I'm not really me right now, I'm talking to a camera. Of course I can't be fully me. This is a performance. Only now I have no script. I make it up as I go along. Right. get to the next site if we don't get blown away. We've driven about 20 kilometers away from Epidaurus, and although Epidaurus itself was a small town, it was famous throughout the ancient world. But this place, this is the Asclepieion of Epidaurus. Asclepius was the Greek god of medicine, and this site was basically a giant health resort, the premier clinic in the ancient world. People would come from all over to be treated here, and although much of the site is in ruins, one element of it has been remarkably preserved. This is the theatre, the ancient theatre of the Asclepieion of Epidaurus. So this is it. This is the theatre of the Asclepieion at Epidaurus, the granddaddy of Greek theatres. Built, I think, in the 4th century, but then restored and extended again by Hadrian. He liked doing this sort of stuff, you know, touring around Greece, throwing money around. But this is probably one of the best examples of the ideal Greek theatre in existence. It's truly magnificent. There would have been, of course, you see the stage, whoop, the stage down there, and then it would have risen up a little bit, but not so much to as obscure this view. The natural backdrop was part of the design, you see. Unlike Roman theatres, like the one in Merida, for example, which has this massive backing wall, the scene. And these theatres, they weren't just places of entertainment or worship, but they were also embodiments of the classical Greeks' understanding of physics and mathematics, because if you're all the way down there, without amplification, you need to rely on the structure itself to amplify your voice, so that even people who are sitting right at the back can hear you. We're sitting about 2/3 of the way up. I can hear people over there talking and people behind me talking, and the guards, who blow their whistles to tell people to stop climbing on the stones. I can hear them. Most of all, I can hear all the birds in the surrounding area. It's all concentrated down here. Should we give the acoustics a check? Let's do it. Okay. I'll set this is my audio recorder, which I'm recording on at the moment. I'll set that up here. I'm going to put up the input level so that it'll... Okay, look, that's background noise, as you can see. That's just people talking around and the sound of the birds that it's picking up, which is already quite loud. And then here's my action cam. I'll set my action cam up here so that you get, a view of the orchestra. Stay. A view of the orchestra and the audio recorder in the frame, so that you know I'm not cheating. In fact, let me just put that down a bit more because of the sunlight and the shadows is a little bit awkward. Are we recording? Yes, we are. Okay, this is a scientific test. It's just for scale. It's huge. It's so big. I've already seen a few people coming in and standing on that circular thing. That circular stone is the base of the altar. The altar to Asclepieion, who was, of course, worshipped during these performances. Asclepieion was, as I mentioned, Greek god of medicine. And theatre itself was part of the cure. It was believed that seeing a good show would be good for the spiritual and physical health. So, there you go. Right, let's put this camera up here.
The gratitude of every home in our island, in our empire, and indeed throughout the world, goes out to the British airmen who...
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage. Rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end, no dark is right. Because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned, too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men, near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on that sad height, curse. Bless me now with your fierce tears. I pray, do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
Impressive. Well, the Shakespeare.
Dylan Thomas.
No performance. Could you